Plants are the living things. They require air, water, nutrients, and light in order to live. Each plant goes through its own stage of growth and development that include seeds, young plant, and mature plant. In order to complete a healthy life cycle, the plant needs the right combination of nutrients to live, grow, and reproduce. Plants take nutrients from the air, soil, and water. There are generally 17 essential nutrients required by a plant to complete a healthy life cycle. Each of these nutrients has a critical function in plants and is required in varying amounts by the plant. Essential nutrients are grouped into macronutrients and micronutrients. Macronutrients are plant nutrients required in largest amount by plants. Macronutrients are further grouped into primary and secondary nutrients. The primary nutrients are nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. Primary nutrients usually lack from the soil first because plants use them in large amounts for their growth and survival. The secondary nutrients are calcium, magnesium, and sulfur. There are usually enough of secondary nutrients in the soil, so fertilization is not always needed. Micronutrients are those elements which are essential for the plant growth, but needed in very small quantities. Micronutrients are sometimes called minor elements or trace elements. The micronutrients are boron, copper, iron, chloride, manganese, molybdenum, and zinc. Any of these elements, when present at a low level than required by the plant, may cause deficiency symptoms, while the same element at a higher level may cause toxicity. To overcome the nutrient deficiencies in crops, farmers mainly depend upon costly chemical fertilizers. These chemical fertilizers not only increase the input costs, but also affect the environment quality, biodiversity, and human health due to accumulation of excessive amounts of nutrients in groundwater, lakes, and rivers. Moreover, the random use of fertilizers result in increased susceptibility of plants to pests and diseases, reduces soil organic matter, harmful effect to beneficial soil microorganisms. Hence, we need an integrated approach to the nutrient management by adopting fertilizer, organic manures, biofertilizers, green manures, and crop management practices. Integrated nutrient management comprises of application of organic manures, green manures, blue-green algae, biofertilizers, and crop rotation with legumes along with minimum use of chemical fertilizers to produce optimum crop yields without deteriorating the soil health. Integrated nutrient management plays a vital role in maintaining soil fertility and keeping the soil productive. It improves soil structure, increases the microbial activities, increases water holding capacity of the soil, and enhances the nutrient availability and also improves soil aggregation. The main components of INM or Integrated Nutrient Management reflect a comprehensive and multi-pronged approach which include cultural practices, use of biofertilizers, organic manure, soil conditioners or amendments, and chemical fertilizers. The cultural practices involve three major practices: crop rotations, tillage practices, and weed management. Crop rotation. Crop rotation is the most commonly used cultural practices. Crop rotation is a planned sequence of growing different crops in the same field.
Crop rotation is a practice of growing crops in a particular arrangement or a sequence. By doing so, if we raise a leguminous crop, it adds to the nitrogen content in the soil. For this, on the roots of these leguminous crops, there are rhizobium bacteria which directly fix the nitrogen from the atmosphere and provide it to the plants.
In India, commonly used rotation system in rice and potato are rice, potato, urad, rice, wheat, mung bean, rice, peas and mung bean, potato, barley, clover. Tillage. Tillage is the physical manipulation of soil with tools and implements. It results in a good tilth for better germination and growth of rice crop. Proper tillage results in higher infiltration and reduced runoff with increased depth of soil for moisture storage. Weed management. In direct seeded rice crop, weeds may be controlled by intercultural operations like hoeing, deep tillage, hand pulling, herbicide. Biofertilizers. Biofertilizers are ready-to-use live inoculants of beneficial microorganisms. They are used for seed or soil application to improve soil fertility and plant growth. These are very cost-effective and eco-friendly. They partially meet nitrogen and phosphorus need of the crop, and if used in combination with chemical fertilizers, then they meet full requirement of the crop. Biofertilizers are widely used in rice production.
Biofertilizer are the microbial formulations or the preparations which have the capacity to provide the nutrients to the crops by virtue of either solubilizing those insoluble available in the soil or releasing them from the fixed form to the available form, and these have been classified as in the name. Some are leguminous type or rhizobium cultures, others are the azotobacter, then azospirillum, blue-green algae and phosphate solubilizing bacteria.
Now let us have a look on various biofertilizers used in the respective crop. Rhizobium, legumes, azotobacter and azospirillum, non-legumes and upland crops. Azospirillum, rice, jowar, bajra and maize. Phosphobacteria, lowland and upland rice. Blue-green algae for rice. Azula for rice and mycorrhiza for rice. Acetobacter for sugarcane. Following is the mechanism of nitrogen fixation with rhizobium biofertilizer. Rhizobia invade legume roots through root hairs, form effective nodules in the roots of legume plant, fixed atmosphere nitrogen inside the nodules, lives symbiotically with the plant. Biofertilizers or microbial inoculants come either in liquid form or in solid form. The desired inoculant is put into sterilized carrier, placed in polythene bags and sent to the user or the farmer. In the field, a farmer can use the culture or these microbial inoculants with the following method. First of all, dissolve 100 grams of sugar or gur in half to 1 liter water. Now boil it and cool. Empty the contents of the culture packet into sugar or gur solution and make slurry. Now pour the seeds of the crop sufficient for 1 acre land in a suitable container and add the culture slurry. Continuously mix with a glass rod or clean hand so that the culture is spread uniformly over the seeds. Organic manure. Organic manures are available in the form of green, and dry plant residues and fresh animal wastes. When added to soil, they enhance the organic matter content of the soil. The nutrients held in organic combinations are slowly released in the available forms. There are 4 types of manures. Farmyard manure. This manure is produced in the farm mainly with animal excreta. Compost. It is made of organic farm wastes, stubbles of crops, waste straw, threshing floor collection, dry weeds which are collected and decomposed. The process of decomposing wastes is called composting, and the decomposed material is called compost. The well-decomposed cattle manure are powdery and light in color. Vermicomposting is another technology of composting various forms of biodegradable wastes with the help of earthworms. Green manure. Green manure is a type of a cover crop. It adds nutrients and organic matter into the soil. When a crop is grown purposely and incorporated into the soil for manuring, it is called green manuring. Mainly legumes are used as green manure crops. Examples of green manure crops are dhaincha, sesbania, neem plant, mung bean, sun hemp, etc.
Green manure is a crop which in a very short period is able to produce a large volume of biomass, and that biomass when mixed into the soil get easily decomposed, and it adds to the fertility of the soil. Care is taken in selecting a green manure crop which is leguminous type, so that it can also fix the nitrogen from the atmosphere.
Concentrated organic manure. Concentrated organic manures are those which are very rich in nutrients than the bulky organic manures. Examples are vermi wash, fish manures, bone meal, and oil cakes. The 4th component of INM is soil conditioners. It is also called as soil amendments. Soil conditioners correct the soil's deficiencies in structure and nutrients.
Soil conditioners are the products or the materials which are utilized to improve the soil structure and the nutrient supply capacity of the soil. These are basically used also in problematic soils. For example, if the soil is acidic, we apply lime to make its neutral pH. Similarly, if the soil is alkaline, we use gypsum so that its pH comes to 7 or near to 7, and it has been observed that at neutral pH the availability of nutrient to the crop is the maximum.
Coming to the very important component of INM, that is chemical fertilizers. It has been seen that farmers often apply uniform rates of fertilizers based on expected yield, but the expected yield could be inconsistent from field to field and year to year. So it is very important to apply fertilizers on plant need basis through efficient sources at right time and through right method. This will not only avoid the over-fertilization to the crops, but also improve the nutrient use efficiency or the fertilizer use efficiency. To determine the nutrient needs of the crop, various methods may be used to fully determine the fertilizer requirement of the crop.
There are different methods which we can use for determining the fertilizer requirement. One is based on the soil test crop correlation studies. In this we test the soil, and there are regression equations where we put some targeted yield which we want, and based on the initial soil fertility and the target we are achieving, the particular quantity of fertilizer needed is calculated. Another method is the agronomical trials. Here we raise the crop for 2, 3, 4 years, and based on the results we make out which is the optimum dose for getting the economic yield from that particular soil. And the third method of application is that we visually see the crop, and if we find any symptoms of deficiency of any nutrient, then we spray the particular through the on the leaves. But one point is that through spray and all, we can only partially meet the requirement of macronutrient. However, for micronutrients which are needed in the soil quantity, even the spraying is sufficient to meet.
The leaf color chart is another method to determine nitrogen deficiency in crops.
Leaf color chart is a device used to find the nitrogen status of the growing plant. To start with, it was used for wheat and paddy, but now is also being used for potato. For using it, there are some precautions to be taken care. Number one, this reading should be taken either in the morning from 8 to 10 am or in the afternoon from 2 to 4 pm. Especially and each time the sun rays should be at the back of the person, and the same man should take reading regularly. While comparing the different shades, we decide what is the nitrogen status and apply them through fertilizer accordingly.
There are some more factors that are to be considered to improve the fertilizer use efficiency. Use of slow release or controlled release fertilizers. Time of fertilizer application. Method of fertilizer application.
The method of fertilizer application is a very important parameter, because there are some elements like nitrogen which get leached. So there the philosophy is that we apply them in split rather than in one dose. At the same time, those nutrients like phosphorus and potash which are not leachable, those we all apply at the time of planting itself, along with micronutrient if these are to be applied through soil application. However, if we at later stages we find any deficiency on the visually on the leaves, then spraying is the other method of application of these nutrients. In a crop like potato, another approach has been given, that is the soaking of the tuber in solutions. Because of its large weight, it can absorb large quantity of nutrient, and that also is one process widely used for phosphorus nutrition of potato in acidic soil where P fixation is very high. This term is particularly used for a nutrient like nitrogen. As this nutrient is highly leachable, so by making these coatings on the urea granules, we try to reduce the rate of solubilization so that this remains for a longer time in the soil and doesn't go below the roots. So for these 3-4 type of materials are used. One is the sulfur coated urea, other is the neem coated urea, third is the even lag coated urea. The purpose of all these approaches is to reduce the solubility of urea in the solution, number one. Number two, act as a nitrate inhibitors, because they reduce the process of its transformation from the amide form to the nitrate form, and thus prolongs the availability, ensure the availability of nitrogen in the soil for a longer period.
So we have seen that integrated nutrient management is a concept which is very practical and effective in maximizing the crop productivity and maintaining the fertility balance of the soil. It would be good if farmers realizes the need of organic matter to their soils and adopt this integrated nutrient management for sustaining the fertility of the soil.